Being provided by Warner Brothers.
Quite House Movie Reviews. This is Father Figures, which stars Owen Wilson and Ed Helms, as they attempt to find out who their actual father is, the sense of on a fairly generic and typical trip across the United States in order to find out who their potential father is by going through a number of candidates, and it just kind of like rolls long, and they continue to meet different people along the way. It is a fairly boring film. It's had its moments, definitely, and there were some parts that were a little bit funny to it, but for the most part, it was pretty bad, and the humor did not hit. Again, there were some comedic points where you got a bit of a laugh. The theater seemed to be enjoying it a bit more than I was. It was not particularly great. The story wasn't very inspiring or interesting, and it just sort of played out typically as one would expect. It was far too long, and the pacing was completely off on it. I don't know if they could have streamlined it more, but it's just felt like an eternity. I think it's about like 2 hours, and it felt like more than that. It just kept going on and on and on. And even then, by the end, I wasn't very satisfied with how it concluded. Generally, not a very entertaining film. I didn't think it looked very good. Some of the story points were a little bit, not really fantastic or interesting, and it just didn't come together for a very intriguing plot. Or one that was really funny. They tried to go a little bit more artful, and it just really seemed like a generic, typical film over the last couple of years, even with how it plays out at the ending. It's kind of like, seriously? And it just kind of comes up with excuses to keep you going along, father to father. The interesting points were when they were interacting with people, because, you get that kind of mix of characters coming in, just how different each of the potential father figures are. But it's just too convenient of a plot to just kind of how mixed into each other. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, or I know that guy, and it would just keep going. And I didn't find that very interesting or entertaining, because the comedy wasn't really there, and the plot wasn't there. And then they went more like heartfelt, and it was just a weird mix of stuff that didn't come together in a very satisfying way. Yeah, there's not a lot to the film. There's not a lot to really discuss about it, because it is very bland and typical, and again, very generic in the sense that it doesn't attempt to do anything new or different or really surprise you, and you just kind of go along for it in a film that's way longer than it should be. It looks like just an excuse for them to go out and visit a bunch of locations in the United States, but even then they didn't really visit anything too cool. They're just going to different houses, so I don't really get the point of it. I'd give it a 3.8 out of 10. You can read my full review in the description below.